Don't blink, it's your boy Ink. Welcome to not gonna say nature corn, but it's not nature corn. It's a food tasting video, but this one is a special one. This we're going back to my childhood. I have a very good, a very complete, a very like it's actually kind of like an arc as to my childhood itself. Now we're eating maple leaf biscuits from Leclerc, which is a French company. But I'm making this video in English because again, it has to do with my mom. With my mom, I'm prefer talking to her in English. I prefer talking to my father in French. That way, I have a so the best way to keep a language to keep being fluent is to talk the language. So by talking to my mom in English and my father in French, I get to talk both and I get to stay fluent in both. But why is this so important? Du musical et rap. Pourquoi c'est si important que ça? It's because so you guys know my mom. She's Egyptian, right? And my mom, although she's very close to her root from being Egyptian, she did move very early on. She moved when she was still a kid. I'm not gonna talk about the reason why she moved because that's kind of personal for her. I'm an open book with you guys, but when it comes to other people, I want to respect their privacy, which is to me super important. But yeah, so even though my mom, so it's funny. My mom was kind of raised in Canada, and you would say, oh, she had this Canadian mentality, and sure, she does have this Canadian mentality. But when she came back home, her mom was very, I guess the Egyptian culture, Egyptian traits in the culture were really present. And at the end of the day, like for example, you can have a life at school, at work, and a life at home. And I feel like at life at home, it was really omnipresent. The fact that okay, we're Egyptian. So there was this culture that and I don't know if it's Egyptian. I feel like it's like that in another country. It was a culture that my mom she what should we call it? A lot of the a lot of other Egyptian would tell my mom that oh well they wouldn't tell, but it was unintended. Like oh, like you married a French Canadian, so you're following more the culture. We want to bring you back. We want to have you in the culture. Like me and my mom, you guys saw the way we acted, right? And we always joke with each other. And I went to this Egypt. I went to her friend, right? And the son of her friend, she was like, "Oh, shame on you for making a joke with your mom." And then I was like, my mom like, "Oh, do you mind if I make jokes with you?" Because again, I took it for granted that it was okay without really asking the question. She was like, "Yeah, yeah, don't worry about it." So see, it's a very different thing. One of those people that believe my mom was following the wrong, not necessarily, if not, it's not a belief of following the wrong culture. It's not so much that, it's that, don't forget that, it's more so like, oh, you don't forget that you're Egyptian. And I think our friends that were Egyptian were really trying to not imbued me, but kind of make sure that I was aware of the culture, which is fantastic because again, I think your parents have a lot to do with you how you raise. I think your parents in your blood has a lot to do with who you are. So my mom, of course, she's Egyptian. My father is French Canadian Quebecois. So you'd say, well, okay, well, you're mixed. However, I was raised more with my father because he had the guard, legally speaking. So of course, I'm more in tune or I'm more aware of the culture that is French Canadian. I don't speak Arabic. I don't watch Arabic show. Of course, if I was young, I'll be honest. I'll be honest. If I was younger, I'd be open to learn Arabic. Nowadays, I'm 31 years old. Not that I'm against learning Arabic. It's like, okay, well, is it gonna be useful? And I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's a good thing. Maybe it's something that you guys would want. Maybe that's something that again. I don't know. I have no clue. My mom, my mom never made me feel like it was something that was important. For her, it was like, okay, you're my son. If you don't speak Arabic, still love you. And one of her friends that used to kindergarten me, she was like a nanny. She had like a home daycare. I would go Silvana. Silvana was Egyptian, and she would cook Egyptian food like molokhaya, basbosa, golokhaya. Golokhaya, I love this. Molokhaya was nice, but see, being at my father's house 12 days out of 14, it's kind of funny because my father was a fan of my mom's cooking, but French Canadian culture, food culture, is very similar to the Americans. It's nothing too spicy, nothing too spice. There's a lot of salt. It's mostly like not necessarily fast food, but mostly like comfort food. I guess for comfort food is the right word. So the daycare, she would cook me morojella, and I was like, this is a bit there's a bit too much going on for me in this plate. So we would eat we would eat spaghetti, and already there was a kind of like a, okay, well, you shouldn't eat too much sugar ink because you got hyperactivity. But at the daycare, I was allowed to eat a dessert, and that dessert was this one. This was a something I thought was okay. Well, oh my god, it feels so special to talk about this. I feel like it's a lot of mixed kid case. Like for example, your father is from Senegal, your mom she's from America, and you're raised in America. I feel like you're more inclined to be in the culture of um yeah, yeah. It's also where you live. For example, yes, my parents taught me a lot, but I was going to school. I was going to school in French, and it's funny because till the age of 18, I didn't want to learn English because I was like, what is the purpose of learning English, right? I'm going to school in French. I'm watching my show in French. Everything that I'm doing is in French. Now, of course, I'm happy that I'm speaking English for purely every single day reason. In Canada, we have those two languages that are not national languages, English and French. So if you don't speak one of both, you may have some problem. You'll be able to have conversation if you speak one of both, but if you may be able to be, you may not be able to do certain things. So enough with talking. Let's go back to my childhood. I haven't had these in legit. I want to say 2, maybe 3 years. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah. Oh my god. I feel like I would have loved to know more about my mom's culture. Then again, my mom, she left Egypt for a very personal reason, and we don't really talk about Egypt. She has this feeling of wanting to go there, but it's funny because even last year she went there for like a month, and I was like, oh, she was like so excited to come to Egypt. She was so excited. She was so excited, and then she went for 1 month, and she was like, it's time I came back. So I was like, okay, bit worried, and now for Mother's Day she told me I want to leave for like 4 or 5 months, and of course I'm like, okay, well, go ahead, do whatever the fuck you want. But remember last year you went for 1 month, and it's not me telling her what to do. It's me being worried. I'm a son. I'm so. Oh, there's a point of your life where you stop kind of being. You're still a son. It will never change. You're still a son, but you kind of being like, okay, well, I'm an adult. It's time for me to take care of you a little bit. So yeah, these take me way back, and it's kind of cool because again, I wasn't really allowed Oreo, but I saw kid at school eating Oreo often, often, often. So yeah, so it was kind of cool. It was kind of really, really fucking cool. Um, to do this because it was basically the same thing. So there's 3 ways to eat it. Okay. This is straight perfection. This is straight perfection. So the cookie tastes like a very dry sugar cookie. Very, very dry. You have some cookies, you call it tea biscuit, cookie that you actually put in tea or coffee. Like, for example, a biscotti. A biscotti is Italian dessert. Then you'll put in coffee, you put it in Americano. Because they're very dry. Okay. Okay. Very simple, but still. Okay. This is perfection. For 3 reasons. It does showcase what you're eating. And by the fact that we're eating it like that, the fact that we're eating it separated is even better. So, cookie again, dry, very dry, but with sugar, a little bit of sugar, but it's still sweet. On the maple filling, it's actually quite simple. It's maple butter with flour. Mm. Mm. See? Mm. Really good. Bit more dry than I remember, but really good. Mm. Me feasting on those today. And that's pretty much it. My neighbors are sleeping. Shit. Okay, so love you guys. Take it easy. Peace.